What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Paul.
My name is Justin. If you guys are new, please hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with when we post. We post 3 times a week. We have our waiver wire episode, our previous week in review, and some trade targets. And then we have our start sits. So today's the start sits episode, and we have Sam Lane at FF Stompy on the show for the 4th time today, taking over the lead against Matthew Betts, who he calls out in this episode for most times on the show so far. So big shout out to Sam for coming on again and dealing with us for a 4th time.
4 times.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at JustinFSFF, and the podcast Twitter's at FatherSonFF. Stay connected with us there. We also have a cool little sponsor for us today. It's thequantedge.com. So if you're tired of getting crushed by the pros, DFS players, and sports bettors, listen up here. Thequantedge.com has the tools you need to play like a pro. So this weekend for DFS, if you guys want to check it out, you got to use code FSFF at checkout, and they have a lineup optimizer tool, injury tool, wide receiver cornerback matchups, head-to-head tool. So basically, you're going to be armed with everything you need to win. You can pick up to 150 lineups in like 8 seconds. You can see matchups to exploit, compare players to help you make the right decision you're on the fence about at thequantedge.com. You also get access to the industry experts, articles, podcast, and the TQE community by participating in the premium membership chat. And like I said before, we here at the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast, we have a special deal for our loyal listeners. You can use promo code FSFF. That's it, 4 letters. You get $10 off your first month. So go to thequantedge.com to sign up today. Easy enough right there. Save money. Use it towards DraftKings or FanDuel. And
Money in your pocket.
Let's get into this week's start sits then. And then after that, we're going to talk about the Listener League a little bit.
Let's get into it.
All right. And today, for the week 3 start sits, we're joined by Sam Lane. Sam, what's going on? It's your 4th time on the show.
That's right. And this is a call out to Matt Betts. I'm in the lead. I'm in the lead, Matt.
He is in the lead. And for people who are new, Sam, where can they find you on Twitter and what do you do?
Yeah, you can find me at FF Stompy. I currently write for the fantasy football franchise at F3Pod, the IDP guys at IDP guys, and the fantasy authority at FF_authority. And then I just joined a new website called Sports Sabermetrics. We're trying to build a statistics everything for the NFL. So currently we have a lot of metrics in terms of athleticism for basically every player you can think of. We're trying to integrate every statistic you can think of, be it pro or college, trying to develop metrics. We're developing kind of a premium tools. So currently, the developer is putting out or trying to bring about a start-sit tool that integrates weather, offensive and defensive stats. So we're trying to roll that out. And if you guys want to visit sportssabermetrics.net and just tell us what you want on there, and we will try and bring it to you. And then the Twitter handle is at sports_saber.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm excited to see what they have to come because already they have a lot of athletics stuff on there, so it's really cool to see that and all their percentiles.
Yeah,
definitely worth following and checking out that website.
So that's awesome.
It is currently Friday when we're recording this, and last night was Thursday Night Football. We saw the Jets and the Browns, and then something happened in that game. We were introduced to Baker Mayfield, and I know my dad hates Baker Mayfield, but boy, did he look good.
Boy, that place was going nuts when he came in.
Yeah, they were cheering for it. Tyrod did not look good. Sam and I were talking before we started recording. He looked indecisive and didn't really want to risk it that much, but that's how he usually is. So Baker came in and just went for it, I guess, and looked good.
Yeah, he came in, he electrified the crowd. The crowd was with him, and after when they won the game, the crowd just went. The place was going nuts. It was fantastic for football. Good for Cleveland because they haven't won in a long time.
Yeah, I feel really good for the Browns fans that have stuck with. When was the last win? In 2016. So
yeah, 635 days, and then Baker gets his first career game, not even a full game, and comes and wins it. So
how about the play where they snapped it to somebody and he handed it off to somebody and then they threw it to Baker in the end zone?
Yeah, Landry threw it to Baker. Now, let's talk about Landry. What do you think rest of the season? Where does he rank? Because I think he's top 10 now. I think he's wide receiver 9 for the rest of the year. That's bold.
We gotta see it. We haven't seen it, so we gotta see it. We gotta see what Baker does.
He looks to be Baker's most targeted guy. I think.
I heard heard on Twitter or read on Twitter, it was at Clutch Fantasy. I think it was Jacob Rickroad.
Yeah.
That basically at the beginning of the season called Landry the Browns Antonio Brown under Haley. And it seems that he's being used that way. He's getting targeted double digits every game. With Baker, he's going to get a lot more shots down the field. They're not going to be playing it as safe. Of course, you can never – that's assuming rational coaching with Hugh Jackson, so you never know there.
Yeah, but I think targets are going to be there for sure, so he has that floor play, and then, like you said, the shots downfield. Carlos Hyde, expecting a child, and his birthday, gets 2 touchdowns, so good for him. Bilal Powell didn't look too bad. He had some yards, not touchdowns, so Crowell stole those. Anunwas got targets still. Sam Darnold, you saw rookie mistakes happen. I don't know, the crowd probably got into his head. But other than that, not much to take away. So
it's good to see Baker get a shot, and like you saying, Landry should get all the catches there, but we'll have to wait and see because he's only played a half of football yet, and I'm excited for the Browns. So they're a better team than they were at 0-2 start. So they got that win under their belt, so they're going to do good moving forward. We'll see what Baker does.
Yeah, for sure. So we got start sits today, and I think we kick it off with the quarterback position. So, Dad, who's your quarterback start of the week?
Well, there's a couple I like, but I'm going to stick with Matthew Stafford.
Oh, again. Oh, no.
I think there's a little bit of bias there, Paul. You're just trying to make that Stafford pick look good, aren't you?
Yeah, Stafford picking the home league when you already had Drew Brees. You just love your Stafford, Dad. I think anyone listening to the home league right here, he loves Matthew Stafford. You hear that? You should try and get you to trade for him.
Week one against the Jets, he only had 9 fantasy points. He picked it up in week 2 against San Fran with just under 30 points. He's going to have a chance to have plenty of big moves moving forward. And they're going against the Patriots this week. I think the Patriots are going to be tired. This is the Patriots' second road game in a row. I expect Mafford to light it up.
Mafford. That's how you combine.
I like that. No, I love that. That's a great nickname.
Mafford.
He's now known as Mafford.
Yeah, it was a Mafford. I agree. I like him.
Mafford. Last week I used pumpkin. Remember?
Yeah, you're still on a pumpkin.
Hold on. I have to answer that question. So that's from Cinderella.
Yeah.
When the carriage turned back into a pumpkin. So I completely understood, Paul. I am saying that Justin's wrong here.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Sam. That's what I'm talking about. Just you got to know the terminology, Justin. See?
Why are you using Cinderella terminology, dude?
You've never heard that. You've never
I've heard it.
Turn back into a pumpkin.
I've heard.
Maybe you should go back and watch the show.
Okay, I'm not responding to that. All I'm gonna say is Matthew Stafford is gonna be a good start this week. Blake Bortles.
Stafford has already attempted 99 passes in 2 games, so I look for him to have a big week.
His arms warmed up. Sam, you agree with the start of the week, or you saying don't start Mafford?
Oh no, I agree. I mean, for me, when we talk about start sets, I try and avoid the guys that you're generally going to start regardless, unless like you're going to sit a stud. So I completely agree. I think they're going to be playing from behind. That defense is not good.
Slay may not play.
Right, and I think Belichick is going to outcoach Patricia just because he knows Patricia's tendencies. So I definitely agree, and I think all 3 of the running or the wide receivers are in play this week too. Mine is, I guess, kind of obvious, but he's been struggling for the first 2 weeks. Is Jimmy G.
Jimmy G started the week against the Chiefs. All right, let's hear this one. Let's hear why.
So, I mean, I think it's fairly obvious. I think the Chiefs are going to be throwing the ball right out of the gate. We've seen what Mahomes has done. The 49ers defense hasn't looked great. They did give up 27 points to the Lions last week, and then they gave up 24 to the Vikings in week 1. So they haven't looked great. And so they're going to be throwing a lot, and I think I think it's just going to be like the first 2 weeks. So I think that the 49ers are going to have to be throwing. I think they'll be playing from behind. I think it'll be a shootout. I believe the over-under is I think the over-under is the highest this week at 56. So
Wow.
yeah,
56.
there's gonna be a lot of throwing. And the Chiefs defense is awful. Awful.
How can it be awful? They only gave up 876 yards in the first 2 games.
Right. So
and 7 touchdowns.
So I just think this is the week that Jimmy G gets off the snide and gets going. So Jimmy G's a start for me this week.
Yeah, it's a good one. He was recently just dropped in one of my leagues. My start of the week comes from the guy that tore up the Patriots last week. That's Blake Bortles. I think you can get a solid high-end QB2 play out of this guy this week. It's not a bad matchup. He's going against the Titans. He had 377 and 4 last week, and I think if Fournette plays, his volume's going to go down, which makes him more of a high-end 2, not a low-end 1. But 9 different guys caught a pass, and he has a young superstar in Keelan Cole. We already know how I feel about Keelan Cole, so I think it's going to be a good week for him. It's going to be a decently close game because it is a divisional game, so I think that he's going to have to throw, and he can put up some solid fantasy points. Not real-life points. They could probably lose the game, but we'll see. I think fantasy points.
Did you just say the Jaguars are going to lose to the Titans?
It's possible. I don't doubt football anymore. I don't think so, but I don't doubt football.
Come on.
Blaine Gabbert could throw for 300 yards. We don't know.
He threw 117 yards last week.
Now he's used to the offense. Hey, we just
get him, Sam. Get him, Sam.
Oh, we see people like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we've seen done before, but like come out of nowhere and throw 400 plus yards both weeks. So I think this could possibly be an upset of the week. I don't see it. This was not the one I would choose. I'm not like into the pick'em games, but all right, there's that.
The Titans are also starting 2 backup tackles. I believe one is a 3rd string tackle against that offensive line or that defensive line. So, but I guess for Bortles, I think I agree in terms of that you're usually, I mean, he's probably just, if you're playing him, you're usually playing him as a streamer. And if he gives you high-end QB2 numbers, I don't think you can really complain about that.
Yeah, no. And now I'm going to give you a player that you're going to be complaining about if you do start him, and this is going to be Russell Wilson here. That's my sit of the week. A little shock. I mean, I'm saying sit because you could probably find a better option on waiver wire. Like if Jimmy G's available, I think it's a great start. And if Mafford's available, somehow I'd take him.
I'll give him to you.
So, Russell Wilson, he sacked 12 times in the last 2 games. And this is going against Dallas, who's actually been pretty good rushing the quarterback. Granted, it was Eli Manning and not Russell Wilson, but they rank 15th against QB right now for fantasy points, and there's no Doug Baldwin. I think that Russell Wilson hasn't really looked that good. I think a big part of it is obviously the offensive line. He's averaged 262 yards and has thrown only 5 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Fumbled the ball 4 times already. Only lost one of them, but he fumbled the ball 4 times. This is not the same as the Bears' defense, but I believe it's going to give him a little bit of a challenge, and he historically hasn't done that well against Dallas. So I'm sitting Russell Wilson if there's better options on the waiver wire. I understand if he's your only quarterback, then you don't.
Dallas has a much improved defense too. But
yeah,
in the first 2 weeks, so
they've only given up 29 points, 16 to the Panthers, 13 to the Giants. But and here's another point. So Ifeldi, the Seahawks right tackle, imagine the gauntlet that he's faced in these first 3 weeks. So week 1, Von Miller, he gave up 3 sacks. Khalil Mack the next week, who I believe got a sack, but he was terrorizing that Russell Wilson all game. And then now he has to face DeMarcus Lawrence.
That's my friend's cousin, actually. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's pretty good. I don't know. That's a cool little story right there. But yeah, that does not look like a good matchup for him. So I'm sitting him if there's better options available on the waiver wire. Dad, who's your sit of the week for you? Who are you sitting at quarterback?
I'm going to go with Derek Carr. This guy's completed 80.6% of his passes, but he's only have a mere 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions so far this year. He's got back-to-back road games. He's facing a pretty good Miami secondary. So I look for him to if I have him in any leagues, I'm sitting him this week.
Yeah, it's across the country for him. Road trip, early Eastern time game, and then Raiders have a low 20.5 implied team total. So yeah, I agree with you, 100%.
Miami's got a good secondary. I think they're going to shut him down.
You agree with that, Sam?
I do. I have never liked Derek Carr. I think that his one quote unquote MVP season was an anomaly because he has not been good really any other year. Last week, I think was a little bit of we'll call it a farce, but it was, he almost threw for 300 yards, and I think I think he completed like 29 of 32 passes, but they were just dinking and dunking the entire game. So it was not a good game by Derek Carr. He didn't make any mistakes, great, but they still only scored 19 points. And in terms of Miami's defense, they have a very good line too. They have good defensive ends in Robert Quinn and Cameron Wake, and then one of their defensive tackles, Devon Godchaux or whatever you want to say. So that defense is actually pretty decent too. So yeah, I don't like Carr at all this week. Of course, I don't like Carr at all.
It's amazing. It's amazing how his accuracy is pretty good at 80% completion, but like I said, he's only got that one touchdown.
Thinking Ducks. There you go. So who's your sit of the week, Sam? Who's your sit?
I'm sitting, or I'm looking at my start sit column for the Fantasy Authority. Two of them played last night, and Tyrod Taylor and Sam Darnold. I was very right about those. And then my other sets were, and this may seem obvious, and it was a guy we just talked about. It was the combination of Blaine Gabbert and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
I think this is just, and it may be fairly obvious. It's quarterbacks going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tom Brady didn't do well last week. Eli did okay, I guess, against him in week 1. I kept him in the game, didn't make a lot of mistakes, but even if Mariota comes back, he didn't look good. He didn't look good in preseason. He didn't look good in game 1 before he got injured. And Blaine Gabbert looked atrocious last week. 117 yards. 117 yards. You know who their safety, Kevin Byard, threw for 66 yards.
That's true. Yeah, that's basically more than half right there. So great set of the week right there. I don't know. Hopefully people weren't thinking about playing him against Jacksonville, but the case is you just easily right there. Fantasy football doesn't have to be hard. Jacksonville,
no, it doesn't.
Good defense, don't play quarterback against them. So, Dad, who's your running back start that you're going to give us? I'm going to probably disagree with it because I know who it's going to be, I think.
Well, you're probably going to disagree with this.
Yeah, we'll get the sound effects ready. Go ahead.
Devontae Freeman is out again, so we're going with Tevin Coleman again this week. What a great week. Let me hear it.
Yeah. Why?
He had a great week last week.
What are you doing?
And listen, ever since Freeman has been out, Coleman has either scored a touchdown or gained 100 total yards all 6 times. We hope that track record continues this week against the Saints. The Saints have only allowed 152 total yards and 1 touchdowns to running backs the first 2 games. But Coleman has scored 4 touchdowns in the past 2 games at New Orleans, so he's my start of the week. He's going to continue playing well with Freeman out.
I feel like an idiot.
So far he has.
I thought you said sit of the week. Coleman's a good start, but
I was going to say, why do you think that's a bad
start? I wonder why you didn't like that.
No, that's a good start. I agree. The fantasy football doesn't have to be hard again. Freeman's out, put Coleman in your lineup. There you go. Sam, you agree with that?
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, he's a good pass catching back against New Orleans, who knows how. I mean, looking at any divisional games, divisional games, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. But it's the New Orleans Saints. It's probably going to be another shootout. I believe their over/under is 53 and a half. So it's still going to be pretty high scoring. Saints defense hasn't looked great. So yeah, I like that. I like that start.
There you go. Who's your start, Sam, for running back?
So I have 3 here that I really like. I'm going to say Matt Breida.
Ooh.
That's a good. So this is going to be a theme here. I really like the 49ers this week.
Choose defense.
Yeah.
Pack it.
They're not good. They're so not good. Matt Breida is the pass catching back. We can call him the pass catching back, and he hasn't really caught a lot of passes. So I think he's going to be used a lot in this game because Alfred Morris is more of the first and second down power guy. Breida will get, he had 138 touchdowns on 11 carries last week. Now Detroit has terrible. terrible run defense. And I almost picked Sony Michel against the Detroit Lions this week. That's another one of my starts this week. Sorry.
Oh, don't steal my guy. Oh.
All right. All right. I'll give him to you. But so he Breda caught 3 targets last week for 21 yards on top of the 138 rushing yards. So I think he's going to get more chances. He's going to get more targets. Kyle Juszczyk is still there. Yes, he might get a decent amount of targets. But the Kansas City Chiefs defense all around isn't good. So I think Matt Breda is going to be used a lot more than Alfred Morris will. And I think he's a good start this week.
I agree 100%. The Chiefs have given up 21 receptions and 261 receiving yards already to the position this year. So receiving back, he hasn't caught a lot of passes, but it's time. So I think he's a great flex start with high upside running back 2 numbers. So, Dad, you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I like him this week also.
Yeah. Well, my start of the week.
I agree with Sam.
Yeah.
I like San Fran, the whole team, and I hope Goodwin plays this week too.
Yeah, it's possible. He's still a game plan decision. My start of the week for running back is Sony Michel. Sam alluded to it right there, and I'm just gonna quote Derek Brown at Debro_FFB on Twitter. So he touched the ball 11 out of 12 snaps that he played versus Jacksonville, which is a good sign that he's going to get the ball when he's on the field. Not all the time, obviously, but it's a good sign that they're going to at least give him the ball, hopefully, with this 3-headed monster. Detroit has allowed 177 and 186 rushing yards to running backs the last 2 weeks. In each game, they have also allowed a 60-plus yard run. So I'm going to put my money there on a 50-plus yard run, I should say. And I think Sony Michel is going to get the ball at least a decent amount of time. Not obviously the whole carry, but it makes for a high upside flex play that should hopefully have a long touchdown because Burkhead's been dealing with an injury and White's a pass catching back. So I'm going to put my money on Michel, and I think I'll probably have him in a few DraftKings lineups this week.
And you're saying he's going to have a 50-yard run?
I'm saying that Detroit, if obviously you can't predict a 50-yard touchdown, but I think the chances are higher than him playing someone like Denver or Jacksonville.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make a bet with you that.
That's a bet.
That's like you saying, "Oh, the Giants are gonna win a Super Bowl." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take anyone else." Like that's not. No, you just want to win a bet so bad.
Yes, I do.
But you like the start of the week, Dad, or no?
I don't like anyone on New England running game, but we'll have to see what he does. He hasn't shown me nothing yet, so we'll have to see.
Oh, there you go. So who's your sit, Dad?
I like my sit of the week. Unfortunately, is Royce Freeman. My love for Royce Freeman ever since he got drafted. Everything was Booker. Then they finally give him a shot, and Lindsey outplays him. Really? Every week he's been outplaying him. So they're going up against Baltimore. They can't start him this week, especially since Lindsey's been outplaying him. I think he's the touchdown dependent right now. So just sit him on your bench, and hopefully better days are coming.
Yeah, no, we had someone on our show mention Philip Lindsay in the offseason, saying how he looked good and to keep an eye on him on dynasty rosters. I believe that was Sam, right? Wasn't that you, Sam?
No, Sam.
I'm taking a lot of victory laps this week.
Yeah, so you
Patrick Mahomes, Quincy Enunwa, Keelan Cole, or Philip Lindsay.
You know, what really bothers me about Freeman is he hasn't caught a pass yet either in the first 2 games.
Because he's a pumpkin.
Yeah. you need to use your own line. You can't.
I agree with that set. I think Lindsey's a better flex play than Freeman just because of the whole pass catching thing. So I agree with that. Sam, you agree with the set for Freeman?
He's actually at the top of my set list. My set list in my article. So,
there you go.
Yes.
Wow.
So who's your sit, Sam?
Ooh, this is gonna get a little controversial here.
Don't say it.
David Johnson, Chicago Bears.
Oh,
I mean,
hasn't done nothing yet. Arizona's terrible.
I get exactly what you're saying. It's just I don't know.
Let's hear why. Let's hear why.
Before.
All right, ready? He has through 2 games. He has 85 rushing yards, 33 receiving yards. The Cardinals, as a team, have 175 total yards per game. In the first 2 weeks. They aren't using them like they should, even though Steve Wilkes says they will. We'll see. But then their running game hasn't been creative either. All of it, I think, this is according to NLF Draft Joey. He posted a new Next Gen Stats on Twitter, and he has one outside run in all of his runs. One outside run.
Yeah, the whole team looks bad. Right, quarterback on down. I hate to say it, but
so here's the other side of it. The Bears rank 4th overall in defensive DVOA, 5th in pass defense DVOA, and 8th in run defense DVOA. That offense is atrocious. That offensive line is atrocious. Khalil Mack is going to destroy Sam Bradford and David Johnson.
Bradford is terrible too.
Yeah, I must say,
sit David Johnson.
And Sam Bradford's definitely not gonna have a job after this. He's gonna be in the hospital or something. He's gonna get sacked so many times. Like, it's not gonna be funny. If I'm a coach, I don't understand the coaching scheme for Arizona. I'm giving the ball to David Johnson as much as possible, not limiting his touches. So I mean, we can't control that though. So I think if you obviously have say you have Matt Breida, I'm starting Breida over Johnson, but is he gonna be a hard guy to sit? I think if you don't have better options, he's a good sit because all the things you just said right there. So if you have other options, please sit David Johnson unless you went running back first 2 rounds and took no other running back in the draft. But still, you could probably find Philip Lindsay. Hopefully, got him on waiver and play him over.
Well, and I mean, all 3 of the guys I have, I would start Kenyon Drake over him against the Raiders. I would start Matt Breida. I would start Sony Michel.
Yeah.
I just until they actually show me that they will use him, and I think it was Graham Barfield on Twitter that said he ran 30 some odd % of his routes in 2016 from the slot. Currently it's at 19%. Yeah. They're not using him like they should. And if you look at his route chart, there's just no creativity with using David Johnson. He is the best pass catching running back in the league, and you aren't using him that way.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Sam. And right now, you have a guy you picked in the first 4 picks of the draft, and he's a bust right now for the season. He's done nothing. After 2 weeks, he's
played 2 good defenses, but the Bears definitely does not help at all. So I think if he does do good this week on your bench, you're like, okay, finally he's back. Whatever, I'll play him next week. But I mean, cut your losses, I guess. Don't play him. I said the week's gonna be Alex Collins, same game from Royce Freeman. Denver's allowed 78 yards per game, and the Ravens are not going to throw the ball 55 times every week. So I can see him running the ball a little more. And it looks like Buck Allen's taking over some of the goal line work, but I think Collins is a low end too high flex play this week. So if you have better options like Breida or Sony Michel, I'd definitely play them over Alex Collins and set him this week. Maybe makes him for a better buy low after this week with this hopefully not so good matchup.
Yeah, Denver's defense is going to be tough to run on.
The last 2 seasons, I think they ranked 3rd last year in yards per game, in rush yards per game, 1st in yards per carry, and then they're doing it again this year. So definitely not a good. It's tough to start your running backs against Denver. I mean, even Marshawn Lynch last week had 65 yards on 18 carries. He was saved by a touchdown. So
yeah. Easy enough. So let's go on to the wide receivers, Dad. Who is your start this week for wide receivers?
This one's going to be easy. You're going to stick with the hot hand here and Deshaun Jackson. How can you not buy into it after the first 2 weeks? What him and Conor McGregor, a.k.a. Fitzpatrick, have done together, they've connected on 9 catches for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. To put all that into perspective, last year, Deshaun Jackson only had 3 touchdowns for the whole season. He's got 3 already. At some point, there's going to be some regression in this offense, but right now we're going to ride both of them guys. And the Steelers have allowed 6 receivers to either catch a touchdown or go over 100 yards receiving through 2 games. So he's a must start, and so is every other wide receiver on that team, I believe.
Yeah, easy.
So we're going to stick with what Fitzpatrick has done. They've had no running game whatsoever. He's thrown for over 800 yards. Look for Deshaun Jackson to have another big game.
Yeah, I think he's a great flex play this week.
Pittsburgh's defense isn't that good either. So
there you go. I agree with it. So
I think you have 3 games this week where they're going to be really high scoring just because the defenses on both sides of the ball aren't good. That's Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, New Orleans, and then Kansas City, San Francisco.
Yeah, right there. So start them up. So who's your start, Sam?
Speaking of one of those matchups, Calvin Ridley, New Orleans Saints versus the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, wow.
what's surprising about the Saints is that they ranked 5th in DVOA last year. They were very good defensively. They ranked 5th in against the pass in 2017 DVOA. They're currently ranked 31st.
Wow.
They were torched by I even have Ryan Conor McGregor Fitzpatrick or Fitzmagic on here. That's what I wrote. But even Tyrod Taylor, who is not the guy that takes chances, actually did fairly well against them. So, and he had that long touchdown to Antonio Callaway. So in both of those weeks, in both of their first 2 weeks, the Saints have given up fantasy viable weeks to all 3 of the wide receivers on both of those teams. Even like Rashad Higgins had 5 catches for 70 some yards, something like that. So he would have been an okay flex play. Ridley had his first touchdown last week. He caught 4 or 5 targets for 64 yards. He's second on the Falcons in targets. And like I said, the over-under for this game is 53. I think it's either second or third this week.
That's a lot of points.
Which likely means it's high scoring. So I think Calvin Ridley, and I'd have to look at DVOA again, but I believe New Orleans is terrible against wide receiver 2s on a team. So I think Calvin Ridley's going to get some targets this week and have a possibility of scoring another touchdown.
Wow. I expect that start. I think he's a 3rd in pecking order, maybe 4th pecking order behind Julio. I think Hooper possibly secured it too, but a high-scoring game, I think it's worth definitely a flex spot for that touchdown. I can see him getting some targets. Like you said, they're 31st against the pass right now. So, sneaky start right there, and I think a good cheap play in daily fantasy too.
I have him in both of my lineups in daily fantasy this week.
Well, there you go. So, do you like it that, or
I like it.
I like it. Easy enough. All right. My start of the week is going to be Will Fuller for the Texans. I think his splits with Deshaun Watson are insane. His last 5 games he's played with Deshaun Watson, he went 4 for 35 for 2. 2 catches, 57 yards, 2 for 62 and 1, 5 for 125 and 2, and then last week he went 8 for 113 and 1. And there's no Eli Apple this week. There's no Olivier Vernon this week. So he's probably going to be going up against B.W. Webb, whereas Janoris Jenkins is probably going to shadow DeAndre Hopkins. So Giants defense isn't good, and I think that Deshaun Watson's going to have a good game, and I think Will Fuller is going to be one of those reasons why Deshaun Watson has a good game. So Will Fuller, start him up in your lineups. Great wide receiver 2 play this week.
They got a good report together, the 2 of them. So
simple enough. Samuel, you like that, or are you saying no to Will Fuller?
I'm gonna eat some crow here. I thought he was gonna. I mean, obviously it's 1 game he was injured, but I thought they might regress a little bit. But I think Fuller's very important to not only the success of Deshaun Watson, but the success of the Houston Texans, because when you only have effectively 1 receiver, when Fuller's down, they can shadow DeAndre Hopkins and take him away. And if you look at week 1 against the Patriots, Deshaun Watson struggled. Now, the Titans' secondary is not good this year, much to my dismay, but Fuller also played. So does that play something into it? Probably, but he takes the top off of defenses, and he takes safeties away and double coverage away from DeAndre Hopkins. So he's very important to the Texans, but he's proven to be a good deep threat for Deshaun Watson as well.
Yeah, simple enough. So who's your sit?
Well, we're going to have to sit Mr. Consistency, Larry Fitzgerald. Look, Sam already said it. Sam Bradford is horrible. It's been horrible for the first 2 games. I don't think he's going to get any better until they start Josh Rosen, to be honest with you.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't know about this, all right?
I don't know. Look, the Bears are going to make it tough on Bradford all game long. They're going to be coming in. They're going to be coming in at him.
Yeah.
So
I think the offense.
I think what he needs is a new quarterback change for that whole offense, not just for Fitzgerald, but for him, for the whole offense.
Yeah, I don't know. Week 1, you saw Cobb have that touchdown who plays in the slot against the Bears, and you saw Tyler Lockett have a touchdown last week who also plays in the slot. So I think Fitzgerald has been a slot. I don't know if they're going to give him the ball, though. This offense is scary, so I think he's a wide receiver 3 play, honestly, but hopefully he gets a touchdown like the trend continues, but I'm not
You've
confident.
seen it Monday night. Chicago's coming after him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald's had less than 20 points so far between the 2 games, so.
I'm not touching anything on the Cardinals
good.
offense.
Definitely not good. I'm not happy about it. So I get that. Sam, who's your sit?
This one's tough. Corey Davis.
Yeah. I'm doubling down with you right there.
Mariota's not playing.
Yeah, I'm doubling down with you right there. It's my sit too. So.
All right. Well, then I'll talk about my other sit.
All right.
Sets. I'm gonna sit both of the Williams receivers for the Chargers.
All right. What's that? Yeah. Let's hear why.
Well, so I mean, if we're gonna talk about Jacksonville having the best secondary or the best pair of corners in the league, then we got to talk about the Los Angeles Rams having the second best pair of corners in the league.
Upset of the week.
And that might be. I mean, that's fine. But those two are outside cornerbacks. So, and you're talking about Terrell Williams and Mike Williams, who are in 3 wide receiver sets are playing those outside wide receivers where Keenan Allen's playing from the slot. But against wide receivers, sorry, let me pull these up. The Rams, and there we are, have given up the least amount of fantasy points. Now, they haven't played great offenses. They played Oakland, and they've played
Arizona.
the Arizona Cardinals. But, I mean, I have to say, like, even against Oakland, they did give up 300 yards, but how much of that was Amari Cooper? How much was to Seth Roberts? How much of that was to Jordy Nelson? So I think their weakness is in the middle, which we're talking about Keenan Allen in the slot. We're talking about, I wouldn't start any of the tight ends either, for that matter. Antonio Gates is just like collecting money at this point. So I think that they're going to lock down those 2 outside receivers, and they're going to have to rely on throwing to Keenan Allen a lot, throw to the running backs a lot, throw to the middle of the field. So
yeah, simple enough.
The Rams are definitely a tough defense.
Yeah, I'm down with those.
And they're going to give Rivers problems, but I got that as the upset of the week for me. Chargers over the Rams, baby.
There you go. Yeah, so I'm sitting Corey Davis, really short and simple. Jaguars defense, either cornerback he lines up against Ramsey or I'm going blank on it. Who's the other one? He's doing better.
AJ Bouye.
AJ is doing better than Ramsey right now with the QBR. So either or. Good luck. Have fun. It's Blake Bortles. I don't really trust that much, but he's gonna get targets. I think it's not Blake Bortles. It's Blaine Gabbert. I mean, I don't know. He's gonna get targets, but what's he gonna do with those targets? So I'm sitting him 100%. I think you got better options on your bench for sure. And Calvin Ridley, I'd probably take a chance with him over Corey Davis.
By the way, if there's a buy low wide receiver right now, it has to be Corey Davis.
Yeah.
That dude has 20 targets on the season. Is that right? Yeah. In the first 2 games?
Yeah, he's got a 35% target share both games so far. So
he's caught 7.
Yeah. So another bad week. Wait for this week and probably get him for really cheap. So high on someone who does well this week. You try to get Corey Davis. Mentioned that in an episode with Matthew. Corey Davis, Allen Robinson, 2 buy lows right now. Try to get them for cheap. Dad, tight ends. Who's your start? Don't say Jimmy Graham.
Well, I love Jimmy Graham every week.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you seen what he did last week. He's going to have a good week this week.
No, he's not. My gosh.
That's not my start of the week. Oh. This guy, I did not like in preseason at all. But he benefited from moving from Detroit to Indianapolis. Eric Ebron. Jack Doyle's out again. Ebron has scored a touchdown the first 2 games. I think he's only caught 7 passes, but for 87 yards. So he might be a little bit touchdown dependent, but Doyle's out again. You're starting Ebron in every league.
More points to Ebron or to Graham?
Ooh.
I'm taking Ebron. That's my start of the week too. So.
Ooh.
Put it on the table. I take that bet every week.
Oh yeah.
Even though he's my start of the week, I'm gonna take that bet because I love Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, you do. I'll take Ebron easy. Thank you.
It's on the table.
I'm doubling down with you right there, Ebron. The reasons you just said, he's got a touchdown both weeks, and now Doyle's not playing, so give him some of those targets. And Eagles ranked 19th against the tight end, so I like it. I think he's a guaranteed tight end 1 this week.
You're lucky Jimmy Graham didn't score that touchdown last week.
No.
He would have had a phenomenal week.
Okay.
You're done this week.
I'm not done this week.
He's getting a touchdown this week. You'll see.
How many?
Okay.
I'm still through 2 games that he has 0 touchdowns.
All right, Sam. Who's the start?
All right. So I don't know if you guys know Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Nope.
Or the character named Carl, but he had a thing called, and this was it's an animated show, but he had the Cold Stone, Carl's Stone Cold Lock of the Century of the week. And this is my Stone Cold Lock of the Century of the week. And it's George Kittle.
Ooh. Guy who disappointed people last week. Let's hear why this week.
Yep.
Another San Fran player. That's 3.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
There it is.
I love these 3, or the San Francisco players this week. I agree that if Goodwin plays, I like him too. But if Goodwin's out, Garcon hasn't been good. Pettis has shown some flashes. But George Kittle is far and away Jimmy G's favorite target and most trustworthy target. But the Chiefs are ranked 31st in DVOA against tight ends. Let's see what they did last week. They gave up 2 touchdowns last week to Jesse James. They are giving up the second most fantasy points to tight ends. But 5 for 5 for 138, and sorry, not 2 touchdowns, but 1 touchdown. 138 yards and 1 touchdown to Jesse James last week. They don't have a good defense.
No, they don't. Third time. They don't have a good defense at all.
So they're going to win in shootouts. That's the only way. So they're going to have to throw. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to throw a lot. And I think playing them, any team playing them is going to have to throw a lot. And I think that's the 49ers this week. So I'm taking Jimmy G's top target, and I think he's going to be tight end 1 this week.
Yeah, I like that right there. Mine's already Eric Ebron. So, Dad, you like the Kittle start?
Yes, I do.
There you go.
Especially after he struggled last week.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
It's good. They're going to score a lot of points, so they're going to be throwing the ball. So,
yeah, easy enough. So, who's your sit, Dad? Jimmy Graham.
Tyler Eifert.
Oh, boo. All right.
So far, he has not been a big part in the Cincinnati offense. He hasn't done nothing, and he should be, but until he shows us more, you're not starting him. He's only had 11 PPR points over the first 2 weeks. He's been limited to 5 catches for 67 yards, no touchdowns. So until he gets involved more, you can't start him in PPR. You got to sit him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sam, you agree with that?
Yes, I'm going to actually sneak back into the starts of the week real quick, just because we're talking about Cincinnati and the tight ends. So this is more for DFS purposes. Ian Thomas versus Cincinnati this week. Cincinnati's given up the most fantasy points to tight ends through the first 2 games. Let's see. They've given up 198 yards and 2 touchdowns through the first 2 games. And Ian Thomas played, I think, 90% of the snaps last week, ran 40 routes for the Carolina Panthers, and he dropped a 17-yard touchdown. So he's getting his work. He's getting his looks. It's just a matter of time. And we know that Cam likes to use his tight ends, or at least his tight end in Greg Olsen. So for those of you who are looking for kind of a shot in the dark tight end this week, especially for DFS, look at Ian Thomas.
Yeah.
But my sit this week, so one of them was David Njoku. I got that one right. I'm going to say ASJ versus the Titans.
He's got some abdominal muscles he's dealing with too, I think.
Well, there you go.
I think he pulled his abdominal or something.
So Justin already talked about Blake Bortles likely throwing less if Fournette is playing, which you can argue that's a mistake or not because they looked really good last week against the Patriots. But the Titans defense, if there's anything they are good at, it's in their front seven. They rank first in DVOA against tight ends. They've given up the second fewest points, fantasy points to tight ends. Now they've only played Miami and the Houston Texans, who Miami has a rookie. Houston Texans have nobody. And the other part of this is the over-under on the game is 39.5, so it's likely going to be low scoring. I mean, that's just, I think, how the Jacksonville games most of the time are going to be. ASJ only has 48 yards on the season. He does have that one touchdown last week, but I don't expect him to get many targets this week, many looks this week. So he's very touchdown dependent. And I agree that this is going to be a low-scoring game, so I wouldn't trust that.
Yeah, easy enough. Doesn't have to be hard. Good tight end defense. Don't play your tight end. That's not an every week starter, I guess. So then there it is. You agree with that, Dad? Or are you saying you want to start him?
No, I agree with that.
Easy enough. All right. My sit this week is going to be Will Dissly. He's got 10 targets through 2 games, so it looks pretty good. But I think he's touchdown independent, and I'd rather have O.J. Howard or Jesse James this week than him. And even Ian Thomas, I'd probably take a shot. Dallas ranks 4th against tight end this year, and he's more of a blocker. And I think that the targets were garbage time dependent, really, and he was the only one that was really open, like, oh, start running routes now. So I'm staying away from Dissly until he does it again this week. If he does it again this week, then maybe he gets into that category of streamer appeal if it has a good matchup. But this week, Dallas ranks 4th. I'm sitting Wilson. I'm sitting all of his weapons except for Lockett, who I don't even feel confident about starting. But as a flex play, you could probably do worse somewhere else. So that's my sit. You looked at that, or you?
Fair enough.
Yeah, easy enough. Dan,
I mean, if I have him, I don't know. I don't think I'd sit him. He scored a touchdown in both games. Is he touchdown dependent right now? I think so. But until he has a bad game, if you have him and you're starting him, I say you keep starting him.
I don't even know if he's touchdown dependent. I mean, sure, he's not going to get those monster Gronk numbers, but he's had 5 targets in both games. Yes, some of it came in garbage.
He's had 13 PPR points in each game.
He had to have more in week 1, didn't he? He had 105. He had 105 yards and
touchdown,
yeah, you might be right.
Touchdown.
You might be right.
I think he had 20 points that game. But anyway, point still stands is that I don't know if we can call him a blocking tight end anymore. I mean, I think you do have to wait to feel comfortable starting him. But he's gotten 10 targets total this season. So, and 2 touchdowns.
So would you rather play O.J. Howard this week or Will Dissly?
Oh, O.J. Howard's on my start list. So.
There you go. And then what about Jesse James or Dissly?
On my start list.
Yeah. So yeah, those 2 guys maybe on the waiver wire. Ebron over him obviously this week. I think Ian Thomas.
Well, I'm not saying I don't disagree with your pick. I'm just saying he's a hot hand right now. If you have him, you just start him. You keep going.
And I think you're right. You just have to wait. You have to. I mean, if he does it one more week, it seems to be a trend.
Yeah, easy enough.
How long? Anyone know how long Olsen's going to be out?
They said 6 weeks, but I think longer than that.
I think he's done for his career.
Yeah, me too. I think Ian Thomas is going to do good this week, like you said. All right, Dad. So we got to make one more bet here. What do you want to do? Wide receiver, running back? I'll take any of them.
I don't care. Give me some. You already lost one. Jimmy Graham's going to have another great week. He's going to beat Ebron by 2 points, and you're going to cry.
So what wide receivers do you like this week?
I'll
say Juju over Devontae Adams.
Ooh, I like that one.
I don't know if you still. Come on, think about it.
No, the Pittsburgh game is going to be high scoring. Juju's probably going to get a lot of points.
Oh yeah, we know he's going to get a lot of points. Juju over T.Y. Hilton. I don't know how you feel about T.Y.
I don't like T.Y. Hilton.
Tyreek.
No.
I go Tyreek over Juju.
Do it.
Running backs, Dad. Who you like here? You like any of these guys? I'll say Kenyon Drake has more points than
Tevin Coleman.
yeah, I'll do Tevin Coleman.
Ooh, there you go. There you go, Polly.
No, because Drake is on my fantasy team and I'm starting.
Oh, and you can't root against him. That makes no sense whatsoever, dude. Boo.
Can't root against that. If I'm starting him, I want him to have a good game. I don't want him to lose.
What you need to do is be like, oh yeah, no, I need Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman will score 20.
But Drake's going to score 23.
Yes. Or no, other way around. You want Tevin Coleman to score 20. Drake scores like 18.
Oh, right here. Wendell Smallwood or Royce Freeman?
Oh God.
Ooh. No, I'm not making that. That's just no.
That's disgusting. But I'll do Wendell Smallwood.
No.
Sneaky start this week, Wendell Smallwood with Ajayi out. Possibly. That's my hope. No. I mean, I don't know who you like. You gotta tell me anyone you like this week.
I like Deshaun Jackson.
Ooh, dude, Deshaun Jackson versus Juju.
If you want to do that, I'll easily take Juju. I'll even do Deshaun Jackson, Keelan Cole. I'll take Keelan Cole.
There you go.
I'm not voting against guys I have on my fantasy team. I got Keelan Cole on my
team. All right, Allen Robinson or Deshaun Jackson. I'm taking Allen Robinson.
I'll take Jackson in that bet.
All right.
That's a fair bet. I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll keep going. I'll take Golden Tate, Aguilar. I'll take Stephon Diggs. I'll take all these guys. I don't think Jackson's gonna get a touchdown this week. I don't know why. It's gonna be Chris Godwin week. Watch out.
Look, Conor McGregor's gonna light it up again.
Okay, you and Conor McGregor, but that does it for our Start Sits episode.
Deshaun.
You don't have to get done with Deshaun Jackson. So we got the Eric Ebron, Jimmy Graham bet, and then Deshaun Jackson and Keelan Cole. Easy money.
No, not Keelan Cole. Allen Robinson.
I'll take that. That's even better. I'll take them all. I'll take anyone over Deshaun Jackson. I'm going against him this week. Hopefully he does bad. But like you said, Conor McGregor. He can't do it that much this week, though. He's got to fight in October.
All right, Sam. Who's going to win these two bets, Sam?
I really like Ebron this week.
Damn it.
I don't like A-Rob.
Yes, so 1-1. Yes.
As smart as Sam is, he's wrong.
Okay.
I can't have my dad have the satisfaction. When my dad wins anything against me, he never lets it go. So I'm just gonna let it keep riding. 0 for 2 in weekly bets, dude. What about quarterbacks?
We didn't have any in week 1.
No. What about quarterbacks? What quarterback you like this week? I'll quickly do one over any of them. Any quarterback you like this week, I'll pick someone over him. Don't say Mahomes because that's not like Mahomes is the GOAT.
You know, I'm gonna ride the Fitzpatrick. I'm gonna take the hot hand.
Ooh.
I'm gonna take Fitzpatrick until he does wrong. Any guy you want. Any guy.
Not Mahomes. You laid out the rules, not Mahomes.
All right.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Sam.
I'll take Big Ben. I mean, Big Ben. I'll even take Jimmy Garoppolo this week. I'll take both those. Give me both. So it's 2 bets in one, basically.
So both of them have to outscore Fitz.
Yeah, both of them have to outscore Fitz, I believe.
All right.
It's gonna get to his head now. Fitz is gonna. He's still got a ball out, I think. The dude has too much. He doesn't care.
I think he's just gotten to a point in his career where he's like, I don't really care anymore.
I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna cut it down the field.
This ball.
Yeah.
He's playing fantastic right now.
He is. All right. So there's that.
That's good to see.
Make sure you guys follow Sam on Twitter at FFStompy.
Yep, follow him.
Right? _. It's FFStompy.
Yep, FFstompy. Visit sportssabermetrics.net.
Yeah, definitely
follow
check that out.
sports_saber.
Yeah.
Let us know what we can do to enhance your experience on that website.
Yeah, there's that. And if you guys are playing DFS this week, go check out thequantedge.com. Use code FSFF at checkout for $10 off your first month. So use that money towards DraftKings. Easy enough. They have great tools on there, and Sports Sabermetric right now it's free. So go check out all their cool analytics they have. Thanks for coming on for the 4th time, Sam. We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you, Sam. 4 times. 4 times.
I always enjoy the banter, boyos.
I know you do.
Oh, there's be more to come.
We like to give it out too.
Yes, you do.
Yes, we do. Well, thank you for coming on again.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. All right, yeah. So that was the Start Sits episode with Sam. A couple of bets made at the end right there. It's always fun having Sam on. So make sure you go follow him on Twitter and check out all the stuff that he writes, and it's got some good articles right there.
It's
So,
always
Dad,
fun
listen.
drawing with you back and forth.
Yeah, listener
We'll see.
league, Dad.
We'll see
You
who
faced
wins
Mitch
this.
last week. You talked crap to Mitch, and you beat Mitch.
I told Mitch I wasn't going 0-2. I mean, you crushed me in week 1
Oh, crushed you week 1.
by like 100 points, and
Oh,
I told
crushed
Mitch
you.
I wasn't going 0-2, and Mitch's team just couldn't handle my duo of Cousins and Diggs. That duo alone scored almost 90 points. Sorry, Mitch, but I'm 1-1.
Easy enough. And guess who gets Mitch this week? This is my week to take on Mitch. Easy money. Sorry, Mitch. You're going to go back-to-back L's against the father-son. So easy enough there. Dad, who do you face this week? You faced the fantasy joker. Ooh.
Fantasy joker.
Yeah, he had Landry already. Ooh.
I know. That's
There's
good for me. He only had like 2 points.
Landry. He had 20.
I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind.
Hey, it's all right, though. Hey, you're down 20. Your team's crap, so you're probably going to lose. But, hey, it's okay.
Shout out to the 3 guys in our league who are 2-0, Dr. Watson and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, my favorite team going into the draft. He beat me last week barely. He had the second highest points. He had the first. So congrats to Tyler. He's got the wide receivers that I liked a lot. And look at them. They're doing well. That is Hopkins, Thomas, Juju, and Thielen. That's crazy.
Yep. Tied with him is hit him with the Haya.
Hey, it's Philip. What's going on? First pick in the draft. There you go.
And Jabroni Peppers. They're all 2-0.
Ahmad. He's just traded away Antonio Brown for Melvin Gordon.
Yeah,
I know he's a Chargers fan, so there's that. A lot of trades have been going down right here. And then Bryce. Let's talk about this trade real quick. Okay, wait, Keenan Allen, Danny Amendola, and Jamal Williams or something like that. He got like Jamal Williams, Philip Lindsay, and Josh Gordon. This guy's a Pats fan, so I mean I'm not vetoing this trade because he could be the next Randy Moss. It's a high risk play, and if he does work out, he's got Julio still. Then he's got Randy Moss. It's good to see that this league's active. That's what I like to see.
Yes,
so.
it is. It's been active. There's a lot of trades been going out.
Yeah, I've been trying to trade away a little bit, but I like my team a lot, so I expect to get a win there, and hope win some money in DFS with the Quant Edge Dad using that website and this.
Right, get money in your pocket, guys. $10 off.
Yeah, so that sums up for today's episode. We'll be back next week for waiver ads. Hopefully, everyone wins their week 3 matchup, and enjoy week 3.
Enjoy.